Drake, one of the biggest names in the music industry, has recently taken some incredibly bold legal action against Universal Music Group (UMG) that has not only captured the attention of fans, but also made waves in the entertainment world. This is no ordinary lawsuit. Drake has added an unexpected twist to the case that involves Kendrick Lamar's controversial track, Not Like Us, and even goes as far as to include Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show performance in the legal fight. The drama surrounding this development is enormous, as it brings attention to issues of defamation, artist-label relationships, and the power dynamics at play in the music industry. To truly understand the gravity of this situation, we need to look back at the events leading up to Drake's decision to take legal action. It all began when Kendrick Lamar released his song, Not Like Us, which featured lyrics that many perceived as aimed directly at Drake. The track stirred up a fair amount of controversy because it included accusations that suggested Drake was guilty of unsavory behavior. The lyrics painted Drake in a negative light, touching on personal matters and challenging his character in ways that many fans found startling. Although Kendrick Lamar is known for his sharp wordplay and tendency to provoke, the directness of his diss toward Drake seemed to escalate things in a way that neither artist had anticipated. For his part, Drake was not going to let these allegations slide quietly into the night. Feeling that the song was an unjust attack on his character, Drake's legal team swiftly filed a lawsuit against Universal Music Group, the powerhouse record label that oversees both Kendrick Lamar and Drake. The lawsuit accuses UMG of promoting Not Like Us and supporting its release despite the fact that the track contains defamatory content about Drake. According to Drake's legal representatives, UMG had a responsibility to address these issues before allowing such a track to be aired, particularly given its high profile and the fact that it could harm Drake's reputation within the industry and among his millions of fans. What makes this lawsuit even more interesting is Drake's decision to involve Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show performance, which took place just days after the release of Not Like Us. The Super Bowl is one of the most watched events in the world, with millions of viewers tuning in for the highly anticipated halftime performances. Kendrick Lamar, who was chosen as a headliner for the event, included Not Like Us in his set, which Drake's legal team argues only further amplified the defamatory message. The fact that the song was played during such a globally significant event essentially put the diss on an even bigger platform, making it impossible to ignore and extending the reach of its potentially damaging message. Drake's legal team is making the case that Kendrick Lamar's performance of the song during the Super Bowl not only contributed to the song's commercial success, but also solidified its negative impact on Drake's reputation. The lawsuit argues that it's one thing for a song to be released on streaming platforms and radio, but it's another for it to be broadcasted during one of the most viewed televised events in history. From Drake's perspective, this is a direct hit at his character, one that wasn't merely an isolated incident, but an orchestrated effort by UMG to allow the defamation to spread far and wide. The inclusion of Kendrick Lamar's performance in the lawsuit highlights just how seriously Drake is taking these accusations and how far he is willing to go in order to protect his reputation. For Drake, this is not just about a song. It's about the very public nature of the attacks and the extent to which they've spread through both media and pop culture. He feels that UMG should have stepped in before things escalated, either by preventing the song from being released or at least taking a more responsible stance on how it was promoted, especially in the wake of such a high-profile performance. This new addition to the lawsuit suggests that Drake is not merely seeking monetary compensation or the removal of a song, but is also aiming for a larger conversation about responsibility within the music industry. One of the most surprising elements of this whole situation is that Kendrick Lamar's song, Not Like Us, was not just a minor track. It was something that immediately garnered attention, particularly for its bold lyrics. Lamar has long been known for his social commentary and his willingness to tackle difficult topics head-on. But with this song, he crossed a line into what many consider to be a personal attack on another artist. The song's lyrics suggested that Drake was complicit in morally questionable behavior, and many interpreted the verses as pointing fingers at him for various reasons, some of which have yet to be fully understood. While Lamar's fans may argue that the track was simply another example of his lyricism and wordplay, others saw it as a direct shot at Drake. For Drake, This is more than just a personal slight. It's a matter of public perception. Drake has always been highly conscious of how he is viewed, both by the public and within the music industry. His career has been built on his ability to craft an image that appeals to a wide range of listeners, from hip-hop heads to pop fans. Any attack on that image, especially one as public and broad-reaching as this, is something that Drake feels he needs to respond to. And in his eyes, the best way to do so is by taking legal action. The lawsuit itself raises some fascinating questions about the intersection of artistry and business within the music world. While musicians are often celebrated for their creative freedom, the reality is that the business side of the industry can be much more cutthroat. For someone like Drake, who has achieved both commercial and artistic success, the stakes are high when it comes to protecting his brand. UMG, as the label responsible for distributing Not Like Us, is under scrutiny, not only for releasing the song, but also for how it handled the subsequent fallout. In many ways, the lawsuit reflects Drake's desire to assert his authority in the business of music, demanding that the rules be followed when it comes to the protection of artists' reputations. This lawsuit is also forcing people to reconsider the role of record labels in the artistic process. Historically, labels have had a tremendous amount of influence over what songs get released, how they are marketed, and even how an artist's image is shaped. While some might argue that labels are just doing their jobs by promoting music that they believe will resonate with audiences, others see this as a form of exploitation. Drake's legal action represents a challenge to the traditional power dynamics between artists and their labels, where the artist is often at the mercy of a company that may not have the same level of concern for the artist's well-being or public image.